Hello friends, it's Alexis and welcome to another round of Battle of the Books. This is going to be my March wrap-up. Alright, so just like normal, let's go over some stats before we get into the actual bracket fight. In the month of March, I read a total of 16 books. That breaks out into 9 physical books and 7 audiobooks. I am back on my audiobook game. I feel like myself again. And of those 16 books, 10 were from the library, 2 were off of my owned TBR, and 4 were rereads. I also participated in Realmathon, so I think that played a big part in me reading the most books I have so far this year. Overall, I'm really happy with my reading in March, and I just know this is going to be a difficult choice. So I think that's everything, and we can get right into the Battle of the Books. Okay, for our first matchup, we have 2 books that I read for a... First up on the left, we have The Vessel by Adam Neville. So going into this is a very short horror novella. I thought I would fly right through it. I thought it would be a super fun time, and I was so wrong and so disappointing. This book ended up dragging and being so boring, and like nothing even scary happened in it except like in these dream sequences the main character was having, and I hate when horror books rely on dreams to like bring scary stuff into the story. Like, I don't care if it's not happening in real life. I can't stand reading about dreams. And then there was this big reveal at the end of the story that like almost did it for me. Like, I thought it was such a cool concept and idea, but the execution throughout the rest of the book, like, I could not rate this more than 2 stars. I say it in the vlog, but I think I could have loved this book if somebody else had written it. This one did not work for me. And that is going up against Murder Road by Simone St. James. I definitely feel like I have the unpopular opinion about this one because, like, I liked it. I don't think it's the most incredible thriller I've ever read, but like, it was solid. It did its job. It kept me entertained. It kept me sucked into the story where I wanted to know more. I think I listened to the audiobook for the first 50% of this book all in one sitting because like, I was in. I had to know what was going to happen next. And while this book definitely has its flaws, at the end of the day, I was entertained, and I feel like, especially when it comes to supernatural thrillers like this, you just have to be able to suspend your disbelief, and I was able to do that. So my final rating for this one was 4 stars. Pretty obvious, I enjoyed Murder Road way more than The Vessel, so Murder Road will be moving on to the next round. Okay, next up, 2 more from that same vlog. I promise I do not put these in order. I just upload all of the book covers and then the website randomizes it, so it's just lucky that we're getting them all in order like this. But on the left, we have Someone in the Attic by Andrea Mara. This one is another thriller that I guess I have the unpopular opinion on. Well, I didn't enjoy this one as much as I liked Murder Road. I didn't hate it the way everybody seems to. I thought it was a good book. Not great, not anything mind-blowing, but like, it was fine. It did get a little boring in the middle, and there were definitely like way too many things and way too many characters going on in this story. I definitely lost interest and kept getting confused on who was who, but at the end of the day, my final rating for this one was 2.5 stars, which to me is a fine book. It's not terrible, it's not great, it's just fine. It's in the middle. I think this could be a really good like starter thriller if you haven't read a lot of the genre, but I could definitely see why people who do read a lot of thrillers wouldn't enjoy this one. It didn't do anything new. The story itself gave off really creepy vibes, and the twist at the end was fine enough, I guess, to warrant a 2.5 star rating from me. And that is going up against A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin. I kind of have similar feelings about this book as well. This is a YA fantasy book, but again, it didn't really do anything new. It was kind of just a basic fantasy. But I did definitely enjoy it more than Someone in the Attic, and I ended up rating this one 3.5 stars. A big part of my enjoyment of this book was definitely the audiobook and the narrator. It really brought me into the story, and I just loved all of the descriptions of tea and food, as well as learning about this world and the magic system, and there was a sapphic romance in it, so already it got bonus points for that. This one won't be on my favorites of the year, but I enjoyed it enough where I'm interested in picking up the sequel and continuing on with this story. So that means A Magic Steeped in Poison will be our winner for this round. Ooh, this is a really good one. Okay, so first up on the left, we have Woodworking by Emily St. James. This one is really a coming of age, sort of contemporary literary fiction novel about these two transgender women just learning to love themselves. So, a big reason I love this one so much is that a lot of trans stories deal with the trauma of coming out and being mistreated, all that stuff. And while this did have parts of that in it, it did have some heavier topics. The book itself never felt heavy or sad. It had such a lighthearted tone throughout the entire thing, and the main characters were just so funny. I was honestly smiling through the entire time I was listening to this audiobook. I really, really fell in love with our main characters, Erica and Abigail, and I think they're characters that I'm gonna remember for a really long time. This author did such an incredible job of like developing them to make them feel and seem like real people. Like they had such strong personalities. Like I really got to know both of them. And it really was just such a heartwarming book reading about them developing this friendship and really learning to accept themselves. And if I didn't say, I obviously gave Woodworking 5 stars. And this is going to be really difficult for me because it's going up against But Not Too Bold by Ache Pueo, which I guess, because this is the point of the game, I did enjoy slightly less than Woodworking. I ended up going with a 4-star rating for this book, which this is the biggest surprise to me ever because this is like a gothic horror novella about spiders. One thing you should know about me is just from saying the word spider, my skin is crawling right now and I'm like inches away from having a panic attack. I can't think about them. I can't read about them. I can't talk about them. But somehow this book really worked for me. I actually think this is a really good matchup to be up against Woodworking because both of these stories were about queer relationships and learning to love yourself and love others. So I think that's definitely why I loved this one so much. I also didn't know that I guess I enjoy monster romances until now, but I think a big part of this was the sapphic relationship, and it was just so cute that these two characters having like super deep, heartfelt conversations about feeling unloved and unwanted, and then like they accept each other and fall in love at the end. Like, this is, I wish I could pick both, but it's not the way the game works. So moving on will be Woodworking. So first up on the left, we have Don't Let the Forest In by C.J. Drews. This may be one of the only books I didn't actually vlog this month. So I'll give you a little bit extra for this one. This one is another YA. I actually end up reading a lot of YA this month. I would call it a mix between horror and fantasy. It follows these two male students, Andrew and Thomas, at their private school, Wickwood Academy. And at the start of the school year, Andrew notices that Thomas is acting different than normal. He's being really reserved, and he also keeps getting up and disappearing in the middle of the night. So one night Andrew follows him out into the woods around campus and discovers that the monsters Thomas has been drawing for years based on Andrew's short stories are now coming to life, and Thomas has taken on the responsibility of killing them and keeping the campus safe. This one was so beautifully written and had the absolute best like gothic vibes. Also, it involved a queer relationship and our main character is asexual. I really, really love this one and I can't wait to read more from this author. I ended up going with a 5-star rating. That, of course, is going up against Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And in normal circumstances, this would be a really difficult choice because I also gave Little Women 5 stars. But Little Women was actually a reread for me, and that basically disqualifies it from moving on any further. I did still want to include it so I could give you kind of my review of it, but yeah, it just isn't going to be in the running for the best book of the month. So if you didn't know, I ended up reading this one for my book club that I host, the Quarterly Classics Book Club, where we read 4 classic novels, one for each quarter or season of the year. And for this one, I actually filmed a entire spoiler-filled vlog of me rereading it and crying over it and screaming about how much I loved it. So if you're interested in watching it or joining the book club, I will have the details linked below. But yeah, obviously our winner for this round is going to be Don't Let the Forest In. Okay, moving on to round 2. This is so difficult and not the choice I thought I would be making because like I went into Murder Road absolutely expecting to hate it. I did not really enjoy Simone St. James's last book that I read, but I ended up being really pleasantly surprised, and I don't know if it had to do with me having such low expectations going in, so maybe that's just a strategy I should use from now on. Yeah, I think I enjoyed Murder Road more than A Magic Steeped in Poison, so Murder Road it is. Oh no. I should have been thinking about this. I should have known this was coming. I already know the clear winner. It just feels correct that it's gonna be Woodworking, because when I tell you the like chokehold this book had on me, like I spent every second of the day where I wasn't reading this book just thinking about reading this book and like waiting until I could get back to it. So yeah, Woodworking is it. And I think it should be pretty obvious by that last statement I just made that Woodworking is going to be our first contender for my best book of the month. All right, moving right on to the next side. First up, we have Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins, another reread for me, so I won't be going too in depth, and again, it won't be a contender to move on, but I'll still give you my review for it. If you missed it, I did upload a reading vlog where I reread the original Hunger Games series in 48 hours, and I had such a fun time doing that. Like, I highly recommend if you had a book series you loved as a kid or a teenager, please do a reread. It was such an incredible time. But yeah, my rating stayed the same as it was probably like 15 years ago when I first read this, like at least 15 years ago. 5 stars. I just love this series so much. I love this book so much. I love these characters so much. Just nothing else to really say besides I think the Hunger Games series is like one of the most well-written books I have ever read in my entire life. And unfortunately, that is going up against my lowest rated book of the month, You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego. This book was so bad, guys. So bad. I read this one for the Literally Dead book club, and at first I was kind of into it. It's a retelling of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which I love. Such an incredible book, but this was such a poor attempt at replicating the genius of Agatha Christie's work. Oh my god, this is another one that I vlog and I rant about it there, so I'm not going to get into it here, but just I hate this book. I hate everything about this book. It was so stupid. It was so confusing. There were way too many characters. The reveal at the end was so dumb, and it did that thing where it like had to hold your hand in explaining exactly what happened, and I truly feel like thriller has to do that in order for you to understand the reveals at the end. It did not do a good job. Like, by the end of it, the reader should be able to figure out the mystery, and like maybe not everybody does, but they should at least have the clues to do so. This book had so much hidden stuff that just wasn't told to the readers. Like, how were we ever supposed to figure that out? Bad. So bad. I hate this book. But unfortunately, because of my rule of not letting rereads win, You Are Fatally Invited is going to be moving on to the next round. All right, I'm really excited about this next one. Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. I read this in anticipation of the movie that was coming out this month, and I'm really happy to say I really loved both the book and the movie. I ended up rating this one 5 stars. I think it's not hard for sci-fi books to impress me. I really enjoy them, which is like why I need to be reading more. This was such a fun time. In this one, we are following a man named Mickey Barnes who signs up on this space expedition to be an expendable. And what that means is they put his DNA into this machine, and they basically use his body to do human experiments, and every time one version of him dies, they just print out another version. And when we meet Mickey in the beginning of the story, he is version 7 of himself, and he is actually left for dead on a mission. So he walks his way back to the space station on the planet they're docked on, only to discover that Mickey 8 has been printed out. And something about being an expendable is the only thing that you never want to do is have a clone of yourself, because it's illegal and it means that both of you will have to be exterminated. So of course, because Mickey 7 and 8 don't want to die, they devise this plan to make it work. And this book was so funny, but also had like really unexpected, heartfelt moments. Mickey has a girlfriend in this story that like, I love her so much. She was fine in the movie if you've seen it, but in the book, like, this is like one of my favorite literary couples of all time. They were so sweet together. And of course, this one was 5 stars. I don't even want to talk about this next book. It is going up against The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, and I am so disappointed at how much I did not like this book. I mean, it's a Hunger Games book. I'm supposed to love it. I understand what Suzanne Collins was doing, and I do think it's an important story now, having read Sunrise on the Reaping, to like have that history of District 12 that we learn about in here, but the reading experience was not enjoyable at all to me. I ended up rating this one 2 stars, and it took me so long to get through because I was just so incredibly bored through I don't know, like 85–90% of this book. I say this in the vlog as well, but I really believe that this one is going to be more enjoyable as a film than a book. I haven't seen the movie yet. I know I need to get on it, but from what I've heard from everybody else loving the movie so much, I can see why. And it being told from only one point of view, you miss a lot of like what's going on in the rest of the story. So I'm definitely really excited to watch the movie and give the story itself another try. But for me, the book did not work. Obviously, Mickey 7 will be winning this round. It's another really good round. So first up, of course, we have my reread of The Hunger Games, 5 stars, no question. Same thing I said about Catching Fire. I love this book so much. And it is going up against American Rapture by C.J. Lead. What else is there to say about this book? I love this book so much. Definitely a contender for favorite book of the year. It just did everything right. I'm definitely coming to find that I just absolutely love apocalypse and like post-apocalyptic books. I don't know why I enjoy them so much. Maybe it's because it's sort of a fear of mine, but either way, I had a really, really fun time reading this one. And this is a little bit surprising because I don't tend to enjoy books that include animal cruelty, animal death scenes, but this is like the only exception, and a big part of that is the author's note at the end. So definitely big trigger warnings for that scene, but make sure you stick around and you do read the author's note, and because it really, not that it makes it okay the way she killed the dog in this, but I understand it and I can respect it, and it did a lot to put like everything in perspective for me. So obviously 5 stars, and obviously our winner for this round. All right, down to our last matchup. First up, we have Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fato. And just like the title says, this is essentially American Psycho, but make the main character a Victorian governess. This was a silly, goofy time. It was just too goofy for me to take seriously. It was definitely brutal. Like, there were some gruesome kills in it, but sort of the way the main character was talking about what she was doing and how much she enjoyed killing and torturing, like, it was just so nonchalant, like casually brought up, like these terrible things she has done. I could not take this book seriously. I ended up rating this one 3.5 stars. I could definitely see that this author was trying to go for the unhinged woman trope, but like, I don't know, something about it was just too unbelievable for me. It was a fun time, but I just don't think it did it as well as other sort of unhinged woman books that I've read before. And of course, that is going up against my reread of Mockingjay, which stayed 5 stars, will always be 5 stars. The way the ending of this book absolutely broke me, like I couldn't even function for a few hours after. I just had to like stare at a wall and dissociate. So of course, that means Victorian Psycho will be moving on to our next round. All right, clear winner here. Pie, You Are Fatally Invited. I'm so ready to never talk about that book again. And again, clear winner. Not that I really had anything against Victorian Psycho. I just definitely enjoyed American Rapture way more. All right, this is the time of the video where it gets difficult. It really hurts to have to pick one of these, but I have to stick to my horror roots, and I have to go with American Rapture. Which means we have Woodworking by Emily St. James going up against American Rapture. This is the point of the video where I hate it so much, because how do I pick one of you? I love them both so much. And like truly, these are number 1 and number 2 of my month. So like this is a really good indicator of the bracket. I know sometimes my number 1 and number 2 books go against each other in an earlier round, but like this worked out so well because yes, absolutely. Mickey 7 was my 3rd best book of the month. Woodworking was number 2, and American Rapture was my best book of March. All right, friends, there we have it. My best book of March is, of course, American Rapture by C.J. Lead, which honestly, no surprise there because I absolutely love this author. I'm just so excited to see what C.J. Lead comes out with next because I know I'm going to love it. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Please let me know what your favorite book of March was, and if you would like to, our emoji of the video is going to be the syringe to represent the pandemic and the vaccine in American Rapture. As always, friends, I hope you read a good book today, and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.